I love this. 71 years young, you graduate with your PhD. Was that a standing ovation at the ceremony or what? Take us into that experience.
Well, the ceremony was actually online. It was a convocation during the tail end of
Well, of
COVID,
course,
and
yeah.
so it was beautifully done by AU. And yeah, I got to brag a little.
Well, it's a remarkable story. Had you always, like when you're in your late 50s into your 60s, was this always something in the back of your mind where you're going, I just know I still have this box I want to tick. I've still got this thing I want to do.
Yes, for sure, absolutely. And life had to clear away all the obstacles so that I could actually find the time. I was a single mom and business person and so on. So uh, circumstances just allowed that I could take this new route, my third career, actually. Hmm.
Well, absolutely fantastic. Oh, I want to come back to you in just a second, but Samarjit, I love what you've been doing because you're pursuing this education journey over the last 20 years or so while working full time the entire time. That's obviously goes without saying, got to be a huge challenge. How have you navigated that, especially learning at such a high level?
Um, I would say having a passion for something, passion for learning, is an absolutely necessary ingredient of that journey. However, also having a clear goal in mind and some really good supports in place to navigate through that journey. I've absolutely enjoyed it. Hasn't been without challenges, but again, I want to say I've had some incredible supports in place that has made this that have made this journey very enjoyable for me.
Oh, I love that. What a shout out to those that have surrounded you, and obviously it's maybe a little modesty there at play as well. I'm sure that there's been a lot of long nights, a lot of early mornings, all part of that journey. There's no doubt about that. Aga, this has been a big part of your career, hasn't it? Like we talk about your years of experience as a face-to-face instructor and educator, but an online adult educator as well. Is this a newer trend? Seeing people in on their back nine of their life go back to school, or have you seen this time and time again from people that just feel like there still is that passion for learning and they've still got to get something done?
You know what? People do have passion for learning if they have those supports that Samarjit has mentioned, right? And those supports, we learn informally all the time. As an educator and a long life student myself, or learner, because very often it's informally, everywhere I go, I see people learning, looking for new, being curious, searching for answers. Now, Athabasca creates that space, offers those supports. We are flexible enough for people to realize their dreams of learning that also is rewarded with a little bit more like better, formalized awards and recognition of the hard work, as well as provides those, scaffolds and systems that offer us shortcuts and guide us through this learning path. Let me just tell you very quickly, I also am a graduate of Athabasca 3 times. And when it came to looking for a job, when I had this doctor in front of my name, I knew for sure that that was the institution I wanted to offer my resources to. So why? Because once again, for me, that was that celebration of, oh my God, this space gets it. Athabasca gets it. When I started learning at Athabasca, getting my master's there, we were sending our materials back and forth through snail mail. Now, we talking about artificial intelligence in
Yeah.
our day-to-day conversations.
Oh man, have things ever changed, right? I mean, like you just heard me going on and on about my traveling to Greece in 1996. Like it was, I remember doing that with a big Discman and a bunch of CDs and a huge travel guide, and my backpack weighed a whole lot more. We look at the evolution of online education. Wow, leaps and bounds over the past 20 years or so. Mae, what was it like when you didn't even have, when you at age 63, you enroll in a master's of adult education program, but you don't have an undergrad degree at that point. Like this was your first day at post-secondary at age 63. Were you feeling the same jitters that some kids might be feeling on their first day of school? Was it a familiar feeling for you?
Absolutely. I mean, it was online, and as Aga says, it's an incredible opportunity that these kinds of degrees are available now for us online. I could not have done it otherwise. There's no way I could have physically gone to a university. So yes, the jitters were there, and every single document or paper that I wrote was a brand new round of stress at the beginning. I didn't know whether I could write or not academically or present and so on. But I was supported and scaffolded by the degree programs, and I just kept going, and kept writing. And I loved it, so that also helped.
I don't feel like I've ever heard anybody use the phrase scaffolded, and I love the picture that it presents. Like I love that the image that it builds in my brain of just this support system around you while you construct something significant, something beautiful. That word, it's really great. And by the way, I'm going to steal that word, and I'm going to start using that word for myself. I hope you don't mind. Did you find
it's common in the world of education academics, that word, because we want to scaffold our students. We want them to feel supported without coming from above, but coming from underneath the support.
Yeah, I love that. Did you feel like you, or even in the bigger picture, maybe you can talk about people that you're working with, students you work with present day, did you feel like you were better positioned to embark on that post-secondary journey at a later stage in your life? Like, do you think that 19 or 20-year-old you may have approached those studies differently than 63-year-old you?
I have to say yes, I really, really do. My careers had given me confidence in myself that I did not have when I was 19, plus a whole world of experience of working with people. So that did give me a lot of confidence for sure. But I didn't know that I could write. I did not know that I would be good at this. I really didn't. I thought I would launch into this and just see if I could survive. And so when you mention the community, the culture, especially at Athabasca, we had a doctoral cohort that I'm still friends with now. We still communicate, we still talk. And I feel sad when I hear people say that their online experience was cold and isolated, because it was exactly the opposite for me. I don't know how I would have made it. My husband passed away just before I applied to Athabasca to get into the doctoral program, and I really didn't think I had a hope in to get into a doctoral program after only 2 years and a master's. But I had some alumni that were in Athabasca that were like, "You're going to do this. You're going to do it. I'm going to call you back in 2 hours, and you're going to have written your intent for research." And, they pushed me, and I managed to get that application in by the end of January in 2018. And by some miracle, I got into that program. So I'm a huge, huge proponent of online cultures and online communities.
Wow, that's an amazing endorsement. Samarjit, did you experience the same thing? Like your studies have been in different contexts, right? Like you were at the University of the Fraser Valley, you've studied at UBC, you're now studying through the distance learning program at Athabasca University. What's that online experience been like for you? Checking in from British Columbia as you continue your studies.
Thank you, Ryan. My journey with, as you mentioned, it's been in different contexts. So my baccalaureate program was totally face to face. And then when I came to teach at University of the Fraser Valley, I was mainly teaching face to face. It was my first encounter with online learning was at UBC. One of the courses in the master's program was taught by, I think I can say the name, Marian Clausen, Professor Marian Clausen, in 2003. And that first encounter with online learning was so good. I didn't feel isolated. I felt so supported. It made me fall in love with online learning and online teaching. So I started to incorporate that in my teaching as well, where possible. And then when I was looking at doctoral degrees, Athabasca stood out to me again because it was a flexible program. It was fully online. I often say I wouldn't have enrolled in a doctoral program if it wasn't for fully online program. And my experience was very similar to Mae. I felt very supported by the professors. They were more like colleagues. Dr. Aga is one of them. And also it's a cohort-based program. So you take courses with the same group of people. I mean, a couple of people vary. Sometimes people take time off for personal reasons. And that, again, is a beautiful flexibility built into the program. So then they join a semester later or another 2 terms later. So you have a couple of people that may be different, but mostly you carry on and you build lifelong friendships. So I have thoroughly enjoyed that online learning at Athabasca University. It's absolutely made it possible for me to be in this doctoral program.
Wow, I love it. A green tomato is one of our commenters in our live chat today. Says, I love celebrating women achieving in academics through non-traditional paths. Aga, you got a big smile on your face when I read that. I mean, it might be obvious, but let me ask you why, because your face just like exploded into a smile when you heard that.
Okay, I might surprise you with my answer,
Sure.
though. I was thinking, okay, powerful women, yes. But as there is always a powerful woman supporting a powerful man, it also works the other way around. And for sure, in my case, when I was done with my doctoral studies at Athabasca, the first person I had to apologize to and thank for his support was my dear husband. Well, he had to put up with when I was working full-time and studying full-time for 4 years for my doctoral course. Yeah, I shouldn't be sharing here online with everybody, but he definitely deserved a t-shirt, doctoral program survivor. I was about to put that t-shirt, on him, but it never worked out. I'm still thinking to do that many years later. So yes, support of your family, understanding. It's understanding is a big piece of that. But also, I want to make a very quick comment about that experience that Mae talked about, how you come into those studies with a lifetime experience of not only building your knowledge, understanding, qualifying to study what you study, but also understanding life and people and circumstances and the fluctuating circumstances of life. And those experiences in our programs at Athabasca, the life experiences, are not only celebrated, recognized, appreciated, but they are built on. So our programs are really organized in such a way that our curriculum builds on that experience of mature students.
Well, it's fascinating to see the trends around post-secondary and how people are studying and where they're studying and when they're studying. And we just love the story of people that I mean, I know, Mae, for you, you're going to go, well, I only have 50 years left on this planet, so I want to make the most of them right now, But that's something that's absolutely inspiring to everybody. And it's my hope that this conversation gives somebody that final little nudge that they need, somebody that has forever thought about going back to school. And I mean, we're here talking about, Masters of Education, Doctor of Education, that type of thing. I mean, I know there's MBA programs, there's there's a ton, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of different programs and opportunities. And I just hope that as we're spending a lot of time talking about back to school for kids that are like aged 5 to 17 or 5 to 18, or university students, as we perceive when we say university students, most people probably think of 18 to 26-year-olds or whatever it is. And I love this reminder that learning is a lifelong process, a lifelong commitment. Mae, you talked about that passion for learning that you felt, and I just think it's a beautiful thing. And it's my hope that the right person, the person that needs to hear this, hears this interview and feels compelled to do something to better themselves. And who knows, also, let's say it for what it is, maybe create a whole new career opportunity for themselves as well. There's that as well. Maybe I'll ask the three of you, we love doing this as we wrap up roundtables, to sort of give us a closing thought, or maybe a call to action, or something to encourage the audience that'll watch or listen to this and maybe apply to their own lives. Samarjit, you want to go first?
Sure. So my final thoughts on learning sort of later in life is I want to relate back to, Ryan, what you were talking about traveling earlier. So if you sort of think about traveling earlier in life and later in life, earlier in life when you're 19 or 20, okay, you've got to figure out, okay, can I afford this? I have X amount of money. Okay, let's pack our bags and leave. And you go enjoy the experience. When you are planning to do that at 45, 50, 40 years of age, when you have other responsibilities and liabilities in life, you have your children, you have family, if that's your situation, then you've got to think about so many different factors. Okay, who's going to look after my children? What's happening in other parts of my life. So you have to prioritize and make sure you've got the right supports in place. And as Dr. Aga mentioned earlier, there's formal learning, there's informal learning. I think when you're going back to school later in life, it's very important for people to have their priorities right and have their supports in place. Because especially when you go back for formal learning, it's a long journey, full of challenges and joys. So you've got to make sure that you've got all the right support in place. And also another thing I want to say about formal learning versus informal learning, they're both equally valuable. And it just depends on the person's context. No one should think that, oh my gosh, formal learning is the only way to go. It should really be contextualized. And from my personal experience, I don't think it's worth it just for the financial gain. There's got to be a passion. You've got to choose a topic for your learning that's bigger than just the financial gain. If the financial gains come with it, that's excellent byproduct of it. However, you've got to, whether it's giving back to the field you're working in. For example, my research is related to nursing, and my passion is about contributing positively to the nursing education world. So my research is related to supporting registered nurses with bite-sized, online, on-demand programs when they want to transition into part-time clinical nursing instructors for post-secondary institutions. So you've got to have a goal in mind, and rest is, I highly encourage people to consider it. It's a very enjoyable, cool thing to do.
I love it. Like they say on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, you've got to be doing it for the right reasons, right? Mae, what's your call to action? What are your words of encouragement for us?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I think what I would say to everyone who's looking at this show and listening is that if you have a slight intuition, a slight feeling that you might be able to do something, there's something you might want to explore, and it might be a still small voice, to really just follow through on it and see where it takes you, see how far it will take you. Because, even there wasn't a paper that I wrote over those years where I didn't have a whole team of internal naysayers show up in my being to tell me I couldn't do it and this wasn't going to be good enough and I'd never get it done on time. And it was they were always showing up. It wasn't as if they sort of disappeared after I started doing well. They always showed up. And so everyone will probably, I'm guessing, will have, especially women, a set of naysayers within them that say, you can't do this or you can't do it well. And just to go past that and follow your intuition that you might have a feeling that you could do this and just take it as far as it will take you.
I love it. Dr. Aga, last
Oh
word.
my God,
If I
so
could,
much.
if I could go on a first name basis, over to you.
Please go. Aga, it is. Yeah. So I tell you something. I'm just looking here at Mae and Samarjit, right? And you're lucky to meet two of the students that I have worked with. And I work with so many of these brilliant, fantastic students day in, day out. So when I think about why would I want to go back to school, is to be with these people, to be learning with them and from them. It's natural to be curious, obviously, but to have that support that's not only cognitive, but it is also social, emotional, and it's just fun. And you're taking risks, and you're making your mistakes, and then you're getting out of trouble, and then you're learning more, and you grow together with other people, and you are enjoying those moments that are fun, and then you enjoying even more so those moments that come after you've been challenged and you actually have come through hell, found yourself on the other side of it, and you feeling like you've learned, you've grown, and you feel satisfaction. And for that feeling of, overcoming challenges and coming out of it smarter and better and more mature, just back to school.
I love it. Hey, thank you to the three of you for making time for us today. I've been smiling the entire time, and I just think that these stories are remarkable. I absolutely love them. I guarantee you that somebody right now is 58 years old walking their dog, or 62 years old, listening to this episode on a road trip, or whatever the case may be, well into their 70s, going, why don't I go get that MBA? I've always wanted it. Why don't I go get it? And you've given them some compelling reasons to not just consider it, but to take that next step. And we applaud you for that. We've been talking to Dr. Aga Palalas, Dr. Mae Doran, and Samarjit Dhillon, all of them connected to Athabasca University. And we're grateful to AU for providing the resources to present this conversation. Thank you to all three of you, and best of luck as your back to school commences here in just a short time. You can learn more about the programs and courses that are available, including online adult learning, by visiting athabascau.ca. We're proud to partner with AU, Canada's open university with world-class accredited online degrees and courses designed, as you've just heard, so you can complete your education wherever and whenever it works for you. Learn more about the AU Advantage by visiting athabascau.ca.